A Spokane woman spent a month in the ICU at Providence Sacred-Heart, and she survived. But her mom was in another ICU room, and she never came home. When 4 News Now took you inside the ICU last week, we introduced you to Jeremy, an ICU nurse who helped both women. For nearly 10 months from inside the ICU, Jeremy's been carrying a message from a dying mother to her daughter. After our story last week, we received an email from Alyssa telling us it was her mom who died. From inside the ICU, Vanessa Perez has this heartwarming reunion with the nurse and his former COVID patient.
Today, an opportunity he thought he'd never get. The nurse got to do her mother's words justice. We were in the room when it all happened. Alyssa-Crosby and her mom got COVID last October. They eventually ended up here at Providence Sacred-Heart-Medical-Center.
And within 8 hours, I'm on the ventilator. I was taken out of here by ambulance because I couldn't keep my O2 above, I think it was 86, with oxygen on 3-4%. And then, so I'm intubated. I don't know what's going on with my mom. Nothing. Next thing I know, I'm off the ventilator, and my mom's passed.
Her mother's last words to the nurse, "Tell my daughter that I love her." The nurse didn't get to pass on the message to Alyssa. As you could imagine, the last 10 months have been long for Alyssa, who's still battling multiple effects from COVID, and Jeremy, who continues taking care of ICU patients. He says it's been labor-intensive and exhausting.
We see people die all the time here. I ended my shift last night actually putting 2 patients in body bags before I had to go home to my wife and kids,
Alyssa's mom's dying words have weighed on him since. But after our Inside the ICU story aired last week, we found Alyssa. And this morning, this happened.
I'm gonna give you a hug, all right?
Yeah.
Your mom's last words honestly impacted me greatly. I thought about you and your mom on and off for the last year almost.
That is something I do take solace in.
Yeah.
And I do take solace in that, her last words.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that there is somebody to tell me them.
Yeah. Well, it's my pleasure and privilege to actually be able to tell you in person.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I would get the opportunity, honestly.
Opening a floodgate of feelings and emotions, a weight lifted off Mullavey's shoulders.
I have 3 kids myself and a 4th on the way. So it impacted me. And also for the families that we weren't able to rejoice with when we watched their patients recover and go upstairs or get discharged out of the hospital, and more specifically for the families that we had to show their loved ones die on a screen.
Crosby has a vague memory of her time in the hospital, but believes she spent 33 days on a ventilator, 44 days in the hospital.
It's extremely heartbreaking for us knowing that we couldn't reunite you with your mom.
Right. I just know that she's not suffering.
Yeah.
She's there watching me every moment of my day. And I'm sure she'd be so thrilled that you guys kept me going.
And now a message Jeremy's carried for the last 10 months has been passed along. To hear more about Jeremy's experience in the ICU during the pandemic and her complete Inside the ICU coverage, head over to KXLY.com and click on Inside the ICU. Live in studio, Vanessa Perez, 4 News Now.